This is a photograph that appeared in the New York Times showing police department personnel patrolling neighborhoods in Brooklyn during Michael Bloomberg's term as mayor of New York City. The New York City Police Department came under a lot of scrutiny for their stop-and-frisk policy, and we're going to talk about this concept, stop-and-frisk, in a couple different videos. In this first one, we're going to talk about the stop. The stop refers to a brief detention by a law enforcement officer investigating the possibility of criminal activity based on the reasonable suspicion standard of proof. As applied to the Fourth Amendment, a stop, regardless of how brief, is a seizure of a person, so it must be reasonable or it violates the Constitution. Stops are official police actions that require evidence to initiate. A stop goes past a consensual encounter, which requires no particular suspicion at all. Stops, by their very nature, are limited in time. If a stop goes on too long, it will turn into an arrest, which requires a higher burden of proof, probable cause. There is no defined time limit for a stop, so courts will typically use the reasonableness standard. Was the stop reasonable based on the circumstances? Finally, stops involve questioning individuals to either dispel the belief of a threat or to gather enough evidence to escalate the stop to an arrest. However, individuals are under no obligation to answer questions. We'll make a note here that some states do require individuals to identify themselves if detained by police, but that's not true in every state. So as we move into the frisk part, we'll talk about that in a separate video. All we need to keep in mind for the frisk, aside from its definition and the reasonableness aspects of a frisk, is the stop comes first. You can't frisk before you stop. So one of the things that will be notable is if the stop is not legal, then nothing else matters after that. So a frisk can be determined on its own in a legal stop to be unreasonable. It's not an automatic concept. The frisk is not automatic. However, if a stop is illegal, then everything that happens afterward is also illegal.